So, correcting some erroneous things I've said in the past. Um, I hopped on the bandwagon for attacking everyone who watches TV and is on the internet, even though I was on the internet before all of you guys, and I probably watched way too much TV, more than everyone else. And I just spent my time doing that instead of what people do. So I definitely had that time. And then I realized, like, hey, like, someone made the book, someone wrote the books, and someone censored the books and filtered them. And it was probably even easier to censor books than it was TV. Because, like, with TV, I can go crash media events, and they have to spend they have to make sure they edit that stuff properly to not show the crazy guy with the information they don't want out there crashing their events. And on the internet too, it's like they claim, I mean, they claimed it was free and there was this and that, and it's like, man, this probably was created like thousands, millions of years ago. Like, I'm pretty sure they had the censorship created after that too and stuff. I mean, I knew that like pretty spot on. I was like, huh, like, I mean, when I was a kid, like in the 90s, I was like, we used to like assume that the helicopters flying over our neighborhood was because the stuff we were doing on there. But, so like I never once really thought the internet was like free and all. Yeah, I mean, look up how it was created and all that, and then have they changed the story? Have they rewritten that past already on the internet, using the internet? And then Wikipedia is obviously highly censored, and the Wayback Machine censors that stuff. If you want to go look up the corrections to all this stuff. And so I just, I realize I have to, like, make amends. Just because I read books in my life and stuff. I didn't even read intelligent stuff. That's not what made me intelligent, right? I read like Fear Street, R.L. Stein, his original Fear Street stories. I read frickin' Choose Your Own Adventure. I didn't read science and math books, so that's not how I like could new answers to stuff in school. And when it came to history, I was always just like, screw off. I don't believe a word you're saying. I don't know how I knew that as a kid, that was the correct answer to any history question, but I did. And yeah, anyway, so I should just put that out there today. And I don't believe that like reading books really makes people better than someone else. I mean, wow, there's some trash out there. I mean, there's some trash out there in the rest of the world too. Like, I mean, like I already knew how to read and write, and so they gave me Clifford the Big Red Dog books to read, and while other kids tried to learn to read and write, it's like, but to me, that's trash. Like, and, like when I'm talking about this other stuff, I'm talking about stuff far beyond. Clifford the Big Red Dog. Okay, you learn to read and write and all that, but it's like like to me that it's like a trash waste of time. It's like if I was going to be force educated, I would have been put in front of physics books and all this other nonsense. Books explaining to me why NASA couldn't go to the moon again for 80 years because they lost the technology. They could have given me all the handbooks and I could have studied them and been like, well, this is how you rebuild it and all this stuff. But it didn't happen. They gave me Clifford the Big Red Dog books. And I think it's pretty censored out there. Like, I looked into one of the people talking against some of these people, a very famous person everyone knows. And he wrote a book while he was in prison. And then became a world leader. That upset the balance, and even reading into that, like I didn't read the whole thing. I feel it. By that time, I realized like if I read a book, I'm frying my brain. Like, I was already at that point where it's like if I read something, I'm frying my freaking brain. I mean, look at these people out here frying their brains on some other stuff that, I mean, who pushed literacy in the largest book out there in the world? Like, it's so large and pervasive that you probably aren't even thinking of that book when I tell you about it. But it, I mean, you're gonna go celebrate it soon. You just got done celebrating it. You're getting ready to celebrate it again soon, and it doesn't stop. And it's like the books worse than TV? It's like the same thing over and over. I mean, that's one of the things. It's one of the signs I see that there's repetitive patterns upon this earth, and it's also one of the signs I see that it's being auto-generated, because if it were strictly a reptilian shapeshifter alien species manipulating and enslaving the human race, like they should realize at one point we twist all the information, and then it like leaves a dead end trail if you spend 80 years researching the first half of information. Then as soon as you hit that new twist, it's like, oh, potato shaped earth. I didn't even know anyone believed in that. Now I gotta go research it. Right? Pancake shaped earth. It's a little bit lumpy. The edges are uneven. A little bit overcooked on one side, but pancake shaped earth, right? Like I don't see that as any different, really. I know I said that a lot, and I feel bad sometimes because I'd be attacking people for shit, and then be like, oh, I'm just retarded as other people. I mean, first of all, because I probably did watch more TV than them, and I was on the internet before them. But at the same time, like, I read goddamn C.S. Lewis books when I was a kid. And freaking Fear Street. It's not like it's not like all those 30 books I read a week as a child were like, other stuff. I tried to venture into those areas. A lot of it was stupid. Like, I didn't understand magic back then, and I don't think it's really required to do rituals. I'd read like one or two of the other books, like one voodoo book, and I'd be like, so this is how I get a hoe to be attracted to me. And it's like, can't be reading Fear Street books if I got a hoe attracted to me anyways. Who cares about this magic stuff? And then they called it the young adult in the children's section too. So it's like I just felt like a kind of like a prison in the library where I didn't really walk down those other aisles because I'm a little child. I mean, they're already asking, like, what are you doing with, like, 30, you checking out 30 bucks at a time. They're asking my family, are you going to read that? And they're like, yeah, he's going to read that. It's like, yeah, not only am I going to read them, I'm going to bring them back in a week and get some more. It's not going to be a month. But I realized, like, looking at that stuff, and they're rewriting, like, they got new histories video every day, every week, every month or something. It's like, oh, we were wrong about this. It's like, I would have never went to the history section and read a history book because I just knew. Like, I don't know how I know stuff. Sometimes, like, the things people will be conversing with me, and they will, like, tell me exactly what they're about to do, and even though it's not in their best interest. But other than that, like when I'm, like, taking tests in schools, it's like reanalyzing that. It's like, I don't think that's because of all the books I read, because I don't think I went to the library and picked up math books and science books and stuff. I picked up Fear Street, R.L. Stine, you guys know him by Goosebumps these days. But I didn't like Stephen King so much. I didn't know about Tom Clancy back then. I didn't really care about the oldies. I mean, and getting back to oldies, like Shakespearean books, like, I mean, those come from plays anyways. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, what's the difference here between the plays, books, TVs, the internet? Which one of us is dumber?